Hello and welcome to Build Your Skill with me, Bill Haining. In this session we are going to look at breaking down a question using the four-step process. So what is that four-step process? Well, this is the process you take with any question you face in maths. The first thing you have to do with any question is identify what's being asked. What's it all about? The second part of the process is what calculations are involved. So before you put pen to paper, think about the question, think about what calculations you need to solve that puzzle. Then the third part of the process is do the actual calculation. And then finally, you can check your answer. So let's look at a typical level 2 question, which you'll see is pretty tough. And let's see how we can break this down using the four-step process. So as you can see, here is a typical question. A fisherman sets off from Dunsey in a boat. He will travel on an average speed of 5 kilometers per hour. He has this map so that he can avoid the rocks. And you can see there's the map here. Okay. Now he needs to meet up with the ship's coordinate L34, which is down here. Okay. And he needs to know what time he must leave Dunsey. And so you have to analyze this question, as I says. Okay. So the first thing you have to do is identify what's being asked. Well, you can see it's a question about scale. All right, so you need to understand about scale and ratios. What calculations are involved? Again, you can see there's going to be multiplying, there's going to be dividing involved. You can see there's coordinates involved, and there's also time involved. So these are skills that you'll need to be aware of. Then you do the calculations. But make sure when you're working with this type of question, you do the calculations in sequence in a logical pattern. Okay, and then to finally finish off this fairly complex question, you check the answer. Now let's go through the question step by step. Now let's look at part one. In part one, you have to recognize what the question is asking. So in this case, scale. Okay. First thing you have to do with scale is understand the key value. You can see there's the key value. What that means is for every 1 centimeter on the map, and you can see one of these little squares, right, is 1 centimeter. That represents 25,000 centimeters in real life. Okay, so it's a ratio comparing the plan to real life. Second thing is count the number of squares from Dunsey to L34, because that's where you're trying to head to, and you want to go via the shortest route. And so see, if you start from Dunsey, work your way around, you will count 13 of these little squares. Okay, and now you've established that, you multiply these 13 squares by the key value, which is 25,000. And you can see now what that means is, in real life, 13 of these little squares has a value of 325,000 centimeters. Okay, just remember with this scale value here, okay, the key value, if there's no denomination telling you what that means, then you automatically put it to centimeters. Okay, so that is how you get that part. Now let's look at part two. Now the question asks for the answer in kilometers, and you can see here, okay, in that part of the question. So you have to now convert this 325,000 centimeters to kilometers. Okay, so you simply do that by following the due process. So 325,000 divided by 100 converts it from centimeters to meters. All right, so that's 3,250 meters. All right, and then you have to convert that meters to kilometers. So 3,250 divided by 1,000 converts meters to kilometers, and you can see that is 3.25 kilometers. So you can see the logical process in this. So now let's look at part three. We take that 3.25 and we have to calculate the time it takes to travel that distance. Now you can see there it takes 5 kilometers per hour. Okay, so you just take the 60 minutes, divide it by the 5 kilometers, and that gives you 20 minutes for 1 kilometer. Okay, all you then do for that 12 minutes is multiply it by 3.25, and you can see that takes 39 minutes to go from Dunsey to L34. Now all you do is deduct the 39 minutes from 5 p.m. to find the time you leave Dunsey to arrive at L34. Okay, and so you just work in reverse. 5 p.m. minus 39 minutes is 4:21 p.m. And the last part of the four-step process is to check using a different method. And you can see in this case, we're going to use an American 24-hour clock, and it's 1700, which is the same as 5 p.m. minus 39 minutes is 162100 hours, which is just the same as 4:21 p.m. And that's how you approach this type of question. So that was Build a Skill, breaking down a question using the four-step process. I hope you find that useful, and remember, every question you approach in the same manner and you will get used to it. You'll get used to answering questions pretty quickly. So good luck.